Good morning and welcome to our Facebook Live this morning. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry about the confusion over times. Normally on a Tuesday evening I do a Facebook Live and that is at 7 p.m. But this evening I have a team meeting with some of my lovely team, and therefore I have brought forward my Facebook Live to this morning. And it was 10 o'clock, then 11, then 10:30, and we're back at 11. So good morning and welcome. My name is Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley in the UK. I am featuring this stamp set this week as my stamp set of the week, called Flowing Flowers. It's a distinctive stamp set, which means that the stamp itself, in this case red red rubber, is highly detailed. You can't see a lot of the detail just from the stamp, but there's a lot of detail in there. So it does all the work for you. So all of this colouring that you see here with the depth of colour is all done for you in the stamp. Sorry, that's reflecting rather badly today. So yesterday I created these two cards with your assistance. Thank you to anybody who joined us yesterday. So we have this one here, which is just simply stamped in a single colour, that's Flirty Flamingo, onto a piece of white card. I added the sentiment in Blackberry Bliss ink to make it stand out. And then a variation on this was to stamp the stamp in Blackberry Bliss on the Flirty Flamingo background. And then I added the sentiment on a piece of die cut white card. And in fact, after the live had finished, when I'd spotted Kerry's comments, good morning, thanks for joining us. Hope you're well, Natalie. So I added the ribbon afterwards, which I think just tones the thing down. For those of you that know me, I'm quite a subtle person, and so I tend to go for more muted colours. I do bright colours, but I just wanted to tone that down a little bit. So those were the ones from yesterday. Now today I'm going to do a stamped one sheet wonder. And I haven't done one of these for ages. In fact, I can't even remember the last time I did it. So the stamp one sheet wonder basically means you take a sheet of card, and it doesn't really matter what size it is. You stamp over it either in a formal or an informal pattern, and then you cut it up. Now I'm going to do a straightforward one that will feature the stamps in a cross formation. And then I'm going to cut that up and add sentiments. Hi, lovely Lynn. So I've got no messages coming up on my phone, which is very annoying. So, oh, they're there now. So I'm going to start with the Flowing Flowers, and I will add some smaller stamps from possibly Eden's Garden. Love this one with the little flowers on it. And also these cute little leaves from All Things Fabulous. But I'm going to use the flowers as a starting point from Flowing Flowers, and I've got a couple of techniques on the way. My chosen colours are going to be Melon Mambo, Pear Pizzazz, and Saffron. That's my starting colours at least. So I'm going to use Melon Mambo. And I'm going to start off by stamping this image in a cross formation, and then I'm going to sort of fill in with the other stamp. So I don't know if you've seen that before, Natalie, you might well have done. Actually, I'm going to start with saffron, just for a change. So no doubt Lynn is watching and working at the same time. So I've got an imaginary line. Now if you're doing this for the first time, you could always draw a light pencil line. So I'm just inking this up, and I'm just going to start with this lovely all over stamp in, as I said, a sort of cross formation, and I'm leaving a gap because I'm going to fill in with the other flowers, and I'm rotating this as I go along, like so. So I hope everybody's having a good day. It's beautifully sunny here today, blue sky, a bit cold, it was cold in the night, but nice blue sky at the moment. Just want to pop one on the end here. Now I know this is quite light, this is so saffron. Let me lift that up so you can see that. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to bring in sequins. This stamp here. Now this stamp has got the flower, it's got the dots, and it's got some leaves. So I'm going to use marker pens to ink up this stamp, and that means I can choose which colour. So I want the main flower to be Melon Mambo, and then I've got the leaves that I want to be green, and then these areas here that can be a mixture. So let's cover this ink pad up, move that out of the way, and hope you can see that okay. So I'm going to start with the leaves, and I'm just taking our marker pen, using it on its side, and this is Pear Pizzazz of that lovely light green, and there is like a little one here, like so. And then I'm going to take Melon Mambo and go over here. Now I have got a different method for doing this, so I'll show you both. So I'm just brushing this over with the pen. So this is our Stampin' Write marker pen. It's not the alcohol marker. It's a water-based pen, and it works in the same way as an ink pad, but in pen form. Okay, so just make sure that is well covered, like so. I'm just going to huff on the stamp with my breath because I want it to be nice and damp. Okay, so can you see now I've got my flower in there and then the leaves in the different colour. Just going to do that again. And then I'll show you a different method. Of doing this, which you may find a bit quicker. And the good thing about this is you can use this to omit areas of your stamp just by not inking it up. Okay, so there's our pear going on. I'm going to pop this one in here, like so. Okay. Now what I want to show you is how you can do that slightly quicker. So I'm just going to clean this off, and I've just got a clean cloth to dry it. So the other thing you can do is ink up your stamp first. So I'm going to take Melon Mambo, ink up the majority of the stamp, like so. And then I'm just going to, with my cloth, wipe off the ink from the leaves, and then add the leaves back in with the green pen. Okay, let's try that. There we go. So can you see, in fact it probably works out slightly better because you've actually got more detail built into the stamp, and because I'm inking it all the way over. So let's carry on with that technique. Now what I can do to make these leaves a bit clearer is use a wet cloth to wipe that little element down. So I'm just going to clean this off in between. Just dry it off. Now the funny thing about a one sheet wonder is it looks like absolutely nothing at the minute. But hopefully when I add the other bits and pieces in, we'll have a really nice result. At least I hope we do. Okay, so let's go with the Melon Mambo again. Like that for the main part of the flower. This time I can use a wet cloth to take out the colour. There we go. And then add in my pear pizzazz. So you can get lots of different effects depending on how you ink up the stamps. There we go. And this one is going to go in here. So I am doing some overlapping. There we go. You can see that one in a bit more detail, hopefully. There. Okay, so let's add in a few more bits and then we'll add in some fill in the gaps. I hope you're well, Lynn. I know you're probably got me on mute, I expect. Right. Let's add this one in. The other way you could do this would be to mask off the stamp with a little bit of a post-it note, ink it up, and then add in the colour. That would be another way to do it. So there's so many, that's the thing with stamping and crafting, as there's no right and wrong way. There's just so many different ways you can do things. Okay. And these pens come in our colour set, so you can buy a set of 10 pens in our Brights or our Subtles, our Regals. Okay, so I'm going to fill this one in here. Like that. Okay, actually I'm just going to put a little bit on here. Oh gosh, multitasking works, a conference and me. Goodness me. Busy girl. Right, just going to pop this spare sheet under this edge. Like so. And I haven't bothered with the leaves because I knew I was going to stamp those off the edge. I'm going to do the same here. Actually, oh yes, just on the edge. And then I'm going to start the infill. So. Okay. Right, let's clean that off. So, move that out of the way. So I've got this little stamp here that we can add in, but I'm going to add some leaves and bits first. Now this is a photopolymer stamp set, so it's going to be nice and easy to add these in. Just going to start with these two, a set of 2 and a set of 3 leaves. Okay, 2. Now what I'm going to do with these, because I don't necessarily want the stems, is I'm going to use my Pear Pizzazz ink and just ink up the leaves on the edge of the stamp, like so that I can add these leaves in like that without having the stem showing. It means you don't have to mask the flowers off. Hello Dee, thanks for joining us. I hope you're well, haven't caught up with you for ages. There's that one there. Obviously got something on this stamp. Okay. So just inking it up without the stem. To add in some leaves. So this is going to get cut up. So basically each piece is going to be cut into, the whole sheet is going to be cut into quarters. So all I'm doing is building that picture into each quarter, like so. And this is the sort of stamp set and technique that you can just start and come back to later. Okay, let's just add that. Okay, now I've got my 2 leaves, and I might just use a different green. Might just add in a little bit of soft succulent. There's leaves are lots of different colours. So let's pop one in here. Gosh, it looks really blue-green in comparison to the others. Okay. And one coming in here, like that. So I'm just building that up. Okay. And I think I'm going to use this little one with the leaves and the little dots because this is really cute. This is from, as you can see, Eden's Garden. And then I'm just going to add some dots and things like that. Okay, so this is, I'm not sure that you can see that particularly well. Okay, so actually I might pop that in crumb cake. Oh, that's so light you can't actually see it. But that works actually quite well because I'm just using it for an infill. I lift it up. You can hardly see it. I can see it. That doesn't help you, does it? That's because my crumb cake needs refilling. So you can sort of imagine this is going to be a panel here, and then we've got a panel here, so you can see how that's building up. So I know this is going to be smaller because obviously this is going to be layered up anyway, but I do think we could do with some dots or little swirls. So Forever Fern has these tiny little dots, and I think they would be perfect. Morning, Jeanette. Thanks for joining us. Sorry for coming on at a weird time. Okay, I'm going to bring back in my Melon Mambo. So we're doing a stamped one sheet wonder that I haven't done forever and a day, so I thought it was about time I did. And I know you caught the replay yesterday, didn't you, Jeanette? So this is Flowing Flowers, is the main item. And if you did this around the edge of a 12 by 12, it would make a great scrapbooking page. And I know that Natalie is a very keen scrapbooker. Okay, I think I might see what that looks like cut up, because you can add detail to it. Once you've got the segments, you can add more detail. I have got sentiments that are going to go in, and I've got some layers that they're going to go onto. So hopefully you can see the overall effect. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is cut this down and then add more detail as I need. So on my trimmer, I'm going to start by cutting this at 10.5. Okay, and then I'm going to look at each piece. So traditionally that would finish there. So I'm going to cut it there and then choose out of this bit how much, you know, where I want to cut elements off. Now I like this bit at the bottom, and there's a lot of blank space here. So this piece is going to measure, when it's finished, 9.5 centimeters. So I'm going to cut that blank bit off, and don't throw away the extras because you can use those on the inside of your card. and then this one will be 13.85 centimeters. Okay, so that's my panel, if you can see that. Now what I can do is I can now add elements to this. So if I want to fill in this section or have a little bit in this corner, then I can add to that now. So let's cut up the rest, and then we'll make some cards from it. So this one obviously has got a lot more detail on it, so I can decide where and what I'm going to cut off. So I like this panel at the top, so I'm going to cut from this element here. So this will be 9.5, and again keep hold of those pieces, and then I can decide which bit I'm going to cut off. So I can either take it to there, or there. I think I'm going to do it that way. And then I've got two different colours of layers of card. I've got Melon Mambo and I've got Pear Pizzazz. And then let's take this piece here, and let's cut it at the halfway point. And then the nice thing about these is that you can work them vertically or horizontally. So portrait or landscape, whichever you prefer. I think that works really nice in that format, the way these leaves are coming up. I love this bit at the bottom, so I'm going to cut off the bit at the top. And I might just take this edge out this time. Let's do something different. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then this one would work that way, that way. I think it works that way as well. This little border here is quite sweet. So let's take this right hand edge, and then this will be 9.5. I like this leaf at the bottom, so I'm actually going to take a little bit off the top and a little bit off the bottom. There we go. So I don't want to lose this whole leaf here on the bottom edge. Okay. Right, let's see what we've got and what we need to do to finish that. Hi Zana. I know Forever Fern is so nice, isn't it? Although we do have lots of sets that have dots as well. Okay, so let me see if I can put this back together again now. So that's how it was. How it was, isn't it? There we go. Yes, that's how it was. So I'm just going to photograph that. It's always useful to see what it was before and what the finished results are. So bear with me while I photograph that. Excuse me if my camera comes in to view. Okay. Right, so let's have a look. So I've got some base cards. I've got Melon Mambo and I've got Pear Pizzazz. So I can choose which ones I want. Actually, I think that would be better on Pear Pizzazz, maybe. Mambo. And there isn't really a right or wrong way to any of these. I could have picked up So Saffron as well. And then what I do is I take each individual one and work out which way I want it to go, and then add my sentiment. So I quite like that in that form with our thank you, which fits in there really nicely, I think. So let's grab that. So I do like to leave the sentiments until I've got those elements put together. And I'm going to do that in Melon Mambo. There we go. So I hope everybody is enjoying a nice sunny day where you are. I'm hoping I'm going to get this fairly straight. Go. Now what I could do is add something in this corner. If I feel it's missing something, then I could add in a little element. So I think what I might do is add in the 2 leaves. And sometimes it's nice, I find, to do this, leave it, and then come back to it to finish it off. Because I think you look at it slightly differently when you do that. It's got my little leaves in there. And maybe I'll just grab a little bit of this corner flower. Sheets underneath. Look there. Literally just on the edge there. Oh good, I'm glad you've got a beautiful day too. Oh, I'm actually thinking I prefer this Melon Mambo, that one. So let's put that one together. Oops. So your adhesive of choice, I've just got some seal here, like that. I'm going to pop that onto here, and this will go onto a white card base. Which is just here, and I've got some that I've cut landscape and some that I've cut portrait, so I'm going to keep this one obviously portrait. Let's move my ink pad out of the way. That's going to go onto there. Okay, so just lining that up, taking the time to get it lined up beforehand. And then the final touch to this is to see if I've got any spare pieces I can put inside. So I could put a piece down here. Let's see what else I've got. This is quite nice too. So I'm going to pop that on the inside as well. Just going to use some wet glue for that. And then you could stamp a sentiment on the inside. You could also stamp obviously one of the flowers on the inside. I'm just going to use this panel here. Just bringing it in slightly from the edge. Like so. So there's my inside. It's got a very slight overlap. And now I need to find the scissors that I had at the ready. There they are. Like so. There we go. So that's our first card, and I am just going to add a little bit of bling. These are our iridescent rhinestones. So they're like a clear rhinestone, and they reflect off the colour that it's near. So if I put it near here, can you see it sort of turns pinky? Let's just add a couple of those. You can have one up in the top. There we go. One there. And one in here. There we go. So there's our first card. And then let's finish off the others. So I've got this one here that looks, I'm quite happy with it on the Pear Pizzazz. And this one I can have a bigger sentiment. So I've got just a note or happy birthday from our set. And again, I could stamp around this corner. This would also work. Yeah, definitely like that. So I'm going to make this a landscape one. I think I'll make this a happy birthday. Let's grab a block. And I'm going to stamp this one in Pear Pizzazz because it's going on the Pear Pizzazz backing. So happy birthday. Just light tapping. I know there's not a huge amount of ink on this ink pad. So I'm going to bring this one in a little bit. There we go. It's my happy birthday. And I think I will again add in maybe some leaves and maybe a little bit of the yellow on this one. So there's that one. So saffron with that bigger flower. Like that. And the leaves again. Angle those a little bit. There we are. Happy with that one, so I'll just put that one together. So it's amazing how different this looks when you cut it up compared to when you first stamp it. And I'm going to grab our card that I've scored in the centre 14.85 and cut it at 10.5, just so I've got a different layout. There we go. So I'm working on my class in a box this afternoon, which is my monthly card class. There we go. Bring it up a little bit, hopefully you can see it. And we definitely need some bling for this one too. One, two, and three. There we go, that's our second card. And then we've got this one here. So again, just take time to see how best that sits. And I think this one could go either this way do it like that. It's a little bit different to the other one, isn't it? And I think what I'm going to do is add, let's do the sentiment first, and then I can work out what I need to do to cover this if I need to do anything. So I think just a note is perfect for that distance. Okay. Oops, Daisy. So if you missed the beginning, I used a couple of different methods for colouring in the flowers. I used the marker pens on their own to colour the different areas, and then I inked up the whole stamp in one colour and then wiped off an area and then added a different colour. So there's lots of different ways that you can do them depending on what you have to hand. Okay, so just a note, I think it's going to come down here. Like so. Might even be straight. Okay, and then I'm going to add this. So this is this flower here. Just going to add this in the bottom. So I'm going to ink it up. And I'm just going to keep it the same. Add a little bit of just greenery in this corner, I think. So I've got the two leaves here, like so. Like that. And then I'm going to add the dots in that little gap there. And then that one will be all finished. So if you don't want to overpower it, stamp off first. There we go. Just wondering now that I need to put something in there. There we are. Okay, so they're all very similar. slightly different. Let's grab this. There we go. So obviously that's one thing I love about Stampin' Up! Is the colour coordination. So this ink matches the cardstock exactly, and then you can get the ribbon and everything to go with it as well. So I hope you all managed to get out in the sunshine this afternoon, or today at some point, for those of you that are watching live. Okay, this one is going to go like that. So this is my featured stamp set of the week. Flowing Flowers. There we are, just a note. Makes a perfect thinking of you card. Missed your birthday card. Any of those really. Let's add some of these in. One, two. Let's have a little one up here. In there. There we go. There's that one. And then finally, we've got this one here. Let's have a look and see. That works quite nicely actually with these going like that. Yes, definitely goes that way. And I think this is going to be just a note as well. There we go. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this come together. So there's my just a note. Clean that off, and I'm going to add a little bit of this So Saffron around the edge. Let's leave that out ready in case I need it. So just a hint on the edge of that one, and then I'm going to add that little flower in. And we're done. And there and there, and I'm just going to add 2 leaves I think in that one, just in between. There we are. The thing is, you can go back and add bits and pieces on right really up until you put it together. The other thing that you can add in that makes these look really quite vintagey is some words, some text. So let's just try that with this last one. and Very Versaille is a perfect one for that because it's got this lovely text here. Not sure that you can even see it. There it is. So I'm just going to add that onto this one. Let's grab a larger block. Like so. And just going to stamp that in there. And I'm just deliberating what colour. So I'm thinking crumb cake, but my crumb cake is very, very light. So I'm just going to try. Let's have a look at soft suede. Okay, so soft suede stamped off will work perfectly. What I am going to do is put this on straight. Just dry that off. That looks better. Okay, so I think that's all up with soft suede. I'm going to stamp it once and then stamp it over there. If you can see that detail, just hiding in the side, and I might do a little bit on the right as well. Oh, that's not very straight. Hopefully I got away with that, which I think I did. There we go. So let me just bring that up a little bit closer. So it gives it a little more of a vintage look. So I'm going to pop that one on there. And we're done. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you like our stamped one sheet wonder. If you want to see an expert do this, then you want to find Ruth Trice Magnus, because she is an expert at stamped one sheet wonders in all sorts of designs. Okay, let's pop this onto our card. There we go, and we're done. And definitely requiring some bling. I've got some different little sequins here I'm going to use for this one. One, two, and three, like that. There we go. That's our final card. Okay, so I hope you like those, and I have got strips that I can add. I've also got some sentiments that I can pop on the inside. So we've got 3 landscape, 1 portrait. And I don't think you'd immediately think that they are from the same original piece of card. So there we are. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will be back tomorrow, Wednesday at 10 AM, our usual time for a Wednesday, for another one in our series using flowing flowers, our stamp set of the week. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate your support and help, and I hope you have a good day, whatever time of day you're watching this, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. If you have any queries or questions on anything that you've seen me create, then don't hesitate to add a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you once again. Bye for now. Thank you, Lynn.